John was the epitome of charm. He had an aura that drew people in effortlessly. With his charisma and wit, he could light up any room. People were naturally attracted to his magnetic personality. In professional settings, John was seen as the epitome of success and confidence. His colleagues admired him, and his peers looked up to him. But behind the scenes, there was a different story. What they didn't see was the carefully constructed facade he hid behind. Every smile, every gesture was meticulously planned.
John craved admiration and validation like a drug. He manipulated those around him to fulfill his insatiable need for attention. His charm was not just a natural trait, but a calculated tool. He used it expertly to gain control over situations and maintain a sense of superiority.
Those closest to John often felt a subtle unease. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but something always felt off. Beneath his charming exterior there was a coldness, an emotional detachment that was hard to ignore. His empathy seemed performative, almost rehearsed. His compliments often felt backhanded, leaving people confused and unsettled. John was incapable of forming genuine emotional connections. He avoided deep conversations and eye contact, preferring to keep interactions superficial. He saw people not as individuals but as pawns in his game of self-aggrandizement. Every interaction was a move in his strategic play. His relationships were purely transactional. Each one served a purpose, always aimed at boosting his own ego and sense of self-worth. Sarah was drawn to John's charm. His magnetic personality was impossible to resist, and he knew exactly how to make her feel like the center of his universe. He made her feel special, showering her with attention and flattery in the early days of their relationship. Every word he spoke seemed to be crafted to make her feel unique and cherished. Sarah, starved for affection and validation, readily accepted his advances. She had been longing for someone to see her worth, and John appeared to be that person.
She fell quickly, believing she had found someone who truly understood her. In John, she saw a partner who could fill the void she had felt for so long.
What began as a whirlwind romance soon morphed into a toxic dance of control and manipulation. The initial excitement gave way to a darker reality. John, threatened by Sarah's independence, began to subtly undermine her confidence. He couldn't stand the thought of her being self-sufficient.
He would offer backhanded compliments disguised as concern. Comments like, "You're so brave to wear that," left her questioning her choices. He'd question her decisions, making her doubt her judgment. "Are you sure that's the best idea?" he'd ask, planting seeds of uncertainty. John was a master of gaslighting, twisting situations to make Sarah question her own sanity. He'd insist she was overreacting or misremembering events. He needed her to be reliant on him, feeding his need for control. The more dependent she became, the more powerful he felt. Sarah's world began to shrink, revolving entirely around John's whims and moods.
The cracks in John's facade began to show. His need for control intensified, his patience thinning with each passing day. He became increasingly critical of Sarah, finding fault in her every action.
Sarah, once vibrant and confident, slowly withdrew into herself. She began to doubt her worth, her self-esteem eroding under John's relentless manipulation.
The charade of the charming boyfriend was fading fast. John's anger would flare at the slightest provocation, his words laced with venom. He blamed Sarah for his own unhappiness, projecting his insecurities onto her. The relationship became a pressure cooker of resentment and emotional turmoil. The inevitable breakdown was brutal. Sarah, pushed to her limit, finally confronted John. She called him out on his manipulation and emotional abuse. John, used to Sarah's compliance, was blindsided. His carefully crafted world of control crumbled around him.
John's initial reaction was rage. He lashed out at Sarah, denying her accusations and twisting the narrative to paint himself as the victim.
However, as Sarah walked away, leaving him alone with the wreckage of their relationship, a chilling realization washed over him. He was alone. His carefully curated persona had driven away the woman he claimed to love. The weight of his actions crashed down on John. He was left facing the hollowness he had so desperately tried to outrun. The charming facade had shattered, revealing the scared and insecure man beneath.
For the first time in my life, I experienced genuine remorse.
The pain of his isolation became unbearable. John, desperate for a lifeline, reached out for help.
My decision to seek therapy was born out of desperation, a flicker of hope in the darkness of my self-inflicted isolation.
Therapy was a jarring experience for John. He was used to controlling narratives, manipulating situations to his advantage. His therapist, however, offered no such leeway.
John, you need to confront the unvarnished truth of your behavior. Acknowledge the pain you have inflicted on Sarah and others.
The process was agonizing. John had spent a lifetime constructing a false self, burying his insecurities beneath layers of arrogance and manipulation. To heal, he had to peel back those layers, exposing his vulnerabilities and confronting the deep-seated shame that fueled his narcissism. Accountability was perhaps the most challenging aspect of John's healing journey. He was forced to confront the consequences of his actions, to acknowledge the pain he had caused Sarah. There were no excuses, no justifications.
I have to sit with the discomfort of my past to feel the weight of my mistakes.
It was a long and arduous process, filled with setbacks and moments of resistance. Yet, with each painful realization, with each apology offered without expectation of forgiveness, John inched closer to genuine change. The therapeutic process was not merely about deconstructing John's narcissistic defenses, it was also about rebuilding, about cultivating a sense of self-worth that wasn't contingent on external validation.
John, your value isn't determined by the admiration of others, but by your own inherent worth as a human being.
This involved exploring the root of his insecurities, understanding the childhood wounds that had fueled his need for control and validation. It was a slow and delicate process, like tending to a fragile sapling, nurturing it with self-compassion and acceptance. John's journey of healing is ongoing. Each day presents new challenges and opportunities for growth. He still struggles with narcissistic tendencies, with the ingrained patterns of manipulation and self-absorption. These behaviors, deeply rooted in his past, often resurface in moments of stress or insecurity. But now he is aware of these patterns. Awareness is the first step towards change, and John has taken that crucial step. He has the tools to catch himself, to make conscious choices that align with his desire for genuine connection and empathy. Through mindfulness and self-reflection, he is learning to pause and consider the impact of his actions on others.
Healing is not a destination, but a continuous process. It is a journey filled with ups and downs, moments of clarity, and times of confusion. I know there will be setbacks, moments of weakness when I fall back into old habits. These moments are inevitable, but they do not define me. However, I am committed to the journey. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. I am learning to celebrate my progress and to be patient with myself.
He is learning to embrace his imperfections, to forgive himself for his mistakes, and to strive for a future defined by authenticity and compassion. By accepting his flaws, John is finding a deeper sense of peace and purpose. His journey is a testament to the power of resilience and the beauty of human imperfection.